Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will understand react.memo. So let's start with the theory. So when we should use react.memo? When we are dealing with parent and child components. And what is the benefit of it? It doesn't re-render the child component when props are unchanged. Let's understand react.memo using code. As mentioned earlier, we use react.memo when we have parent and child relationship. Here you can see I have one parent component which is a simple component where we have one div, one h2 and another div with parent text. We also have one child component. When we go to that child component, I have just written console.log to check when this component is rendering and it is returning one text that is child. When we see this in browser, it looks like this. Now let's see how we can use react.memo and what is the use of it. So let me add one text input over here. For that, I will just create one state name set name is equal to use state and then blank. In parent component, I will add one input with value as name, and on change I will call a function that will update the state. Set name e dot target dot value. Okay, and then we will display that name over here, whatever name user is writing. Let's save it and try to run it. Okay, now I will start writing something. Let's say John. You can see whatever we are writing here, it is coming over here, but you can also see child is rendered 4 times. Let me remove it again. You can see we are not making any change in the child component, but this child component is re-rendering. Let's try again. I am entering another name, Mark. Every time when I enter, it shows us the re-render text. So why this child is re-rendering? Every time whenever we are changing the value, the new state is getting updated, and because whenever there is a state change, then any component which we have in the JSX, that will re-render. To prevent this, what we can do, we can wrap our child component with react.memo. Now refresh it. You can see child render once. Now I will start writing something. Let's say JOHN. Now you can see there is no child render message because there is nothing is changing here for this particular component. Okay, so it will not re-render. For example, let's say I'm not using, how it will impact the performance. Let's consider when we don't have anything here and we write something, there is no performance lag. Okay, you can see here, right? But the thing is, if in child component we are computing something which is little time consuming. Okay, for to replicate that, I'm just putting one calculate value function which we will use here, and then I'm calling that function here, and also I will add one JSX over here to display that calculated value. So this is just a function, okay, where I have written a for loop. It will run almost these many times, and then after that it will return a random number. That random number will come here, and then we are just showing that random number with two decimal places. So we are trying to replicate a task over here which takes time. Let me save it. Let's go back to the our example. When I load it, you can see here the loading bar, right? What is happening is whenever I will write something here, let's say I'm writing 1, you can see it is taking time, and after some time I get the response. I write 2, still it is calculating, and then it is showing the result. I write 3, it is still calculating, so it is very slow. Now I'm continuously writing 4 5 6 4 5 6. Now see, it is just calculating it, and it is hanged, okay, and after some time we get the response. So how we can stop this type of behavior? So again, we will wrap our child component with react.memo. Let's wrap it. Now refresh the application. First time it will take time because it renders first, okay, and then when we will start writing something, let's say I'm writing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, it is writing pretty quickly, okay. The reason is, again, there is no change in the properties of the child component. That is why it is not re-rendering it. Okay, so this is the use of react.memo. If there is no change in the properties, it will not re-render the component. Okay, so if you want to see an example of the property is changing, okay, so we can just put another property over here. Let's say I'm just writing count equal to count here. In child, we will accept one count as a property, and then here we can use that count. In parent, we can create another state variable, use state, count is 0. Okay, now here in parent component itself, I can write, let me write here one button. On click, what I will do is I will set the count. I will add 1 in the count, and then let's close it and uh, add 1. Okay, now what we are trying to do here, we have passed one property that is called count in the child component. Okay, and when we will click on this button, it will increment the value. So when we will increment the value, this particular child component should re-render because the value of count is increasing. But when we type something in input box, it should not re-render the child component. Okay, because we are not passing any property like name in the child component. Let's try it. Let me refresh. Okay, so first time you can see in child we have 0 count and then this one. Now let's see when we click on add one, you can see it took some time and then child re-render. When I again click, it will again calculate the value and it will show the count and it will re-render again. Okay, but when I write something in text box, let's say again 1 2 3 4 5 6, anything, any value, if I am writing, there is no child re-render. So now what we are getting here, when we use react.memo, what happens is when we make changes in the property which is passed to the child component, if that is changing, then only the child component will re-render, otherwise it will not. But in case we don't use react.memo, it will render each and every time, even this particular component, child component, is not dependent on those state variables. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you, and please let me know in comments if it was useful for you, and if you are still confused, then again let me know. I will make another video to explain it more deeply. Okay, but again I'm just giving the recap. So in this child component we are using count as a state variable. Okay, and child component is wrapped with react.memo, so it will re-render only when there is a change in the count variable, okay, which we are changing using button. But when we change input name, okay, at that time this child component will not re-render because we have not passed it as a property. Let me show you again. Refresh it. First time it will re-render, so it will take time. When I am changing the text, you can see no re-render. When I click on add, you can see the message over here, child re-render. Okay, and then count will increase. If I add name as a new prop in this child component, then when we change the name, it will also re-render the child. Let's try that. I have added name as a property in child component. Let's try now. I have just entered J. See, it is re-rendering. Let me enter O. You can see it is re-rendering, right? Because we have added a new property here. Let me remove it. I hope you understood the react.memo. Please let me know in the comments. Thanks.